Right now you are in Delhi?
Yeah, he's
Yeah, so
Delhi.
I'm in Delhi for today, and then tomorrow I fly back to the United States.
Okay.
That's awesome.
He has visited Varanasi as well. It's been a
Yes,
right, Kevin.
I think it's been like a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, since I've been at Varanasi. But I can't see everyone in this meeting. Are there only 2 students today, or are there many more students?
There are.
How often you visit like India?
Say it one more time. I couldn't hear the last part because of the reception.
Okay. So what do you like most in Delhi? Like especially in India?
Excuse me, Jyoti. He was asking you to repeat the like you said because he was not able to listen to you properly.
Okay. Kevin, I was saying like what attracts you here in India? And what do you love in India like?
Yeah. I think I wanted to come to India because so I used to live in East Asia. I lived in China and Taiwan for about 4 years, maybe about 10 years ago, and I visited most countries in Southeast Asia, most countries in East Asia, but I never went to India, and so it has always been on my list of places to visit. And I think India is full of color, and the food is amazing, and full of just, how do I say, it's so hard to define India because you have so many different regions, languages, and everything. So I don't know if there's one reason that I wanted to come here, but I think Varanasi is probably my favorite of India, but I've only been to Ujwal, don't get mad at me. I forgot the right name because the name changed. What's the city I went to?
That's Shambhaji Nagar.
Yes.
Chhatrapati Shambhaji Nagar.
So that was really cool. The Ellora Caves, Ajanta Caves. But I think Varanasi was. I think it was very intense. It was full of adventure. But in Delhi is it's a big city. I'm nearby it's called the Ames Hotel, AIIMS Hotel, hospital. Excuse me.
Ames Hospital. Yes.
Yeah, so I'm nearby there right now.
All right.
But sorry if I didn't answer your question. If that answer was okay.
How about others? I mean, why are you guys silent? Come on, just talk to him. He's not gonna carry on. He's so cool. Come on.
Hi, Kevin.
Hi.
How are you?
Good. Yeah, ask any questions. We say in English, I'm an open book. You can ask anything.
Well, you also teach.
Am I also what?
Also, you also teach. Do you also teach?
So, when I was younger, I taught English to Chinese and Taiwanese students, but I haven't been a teacher in like 8 years. So now I'm just a teacher. I just do tech. Yeah.
Oh wow, it's really been nice to talk to you. First time I'm talking with the US guy.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad that you could have this experience. We're not scary. I swear, we're not scary people.
The people are others are thinking that you're gonna judge them on their English now, right? What about you, sir? Sina, Babita, why are you guys silent? Come on, talk to him. He's so friendly. So come on.
Okay. So hi Kevin, how are you?
That's good.
Everybody is asking the same question.
So I want to know that as we
heard from this.
Your
Yes.
the voice is breaking up.
Yes. So
Yeah.
now it's fine.
Yeah. So I'm
Yes.
also a student. Yeah. So I'm
Okay.
learning the beginning
Kevin,
of.
Kevin, sir,
Hmm.
you're learning Hindi or English?
Yes, but I need. I forgot a little bit. So, but yes, he is teaching me Hindi. So I am
Hindi.
slowly,
Okay.
slowly learning. It's been a few weeks, so I forgot a little bit.
Okay.
No issues.
But it's a very.
We're gonna cover all the.
Hmm?
We're gonna cover all the things.
I need a refresher course.
Definitely.
But yeah, Hindi is a really cool language. But as you know, Hindi and English are so different, very different.
Yes, yes, you're right.
I think Hindi is more difficult than English.
Definitely. It's damn difficult. When you move,
Very difficult.
when you move towards Sanskrit, it's gonna be even more difficult. It's difficult for us as well.
Exactly. Yeah. One day I'll be able to speak it. But good question.
Kevin, can I ask something?
Yeah.
Like, could you please give us some tips? Like, as we all know English well, it doesn't mean that we can't speak English, but you know what? The way you speak English, you have a different accent than the Indian accent. So, is there any difficulty when you come here to, in terms of accent, when you listen like the language here in India?
That's actually a really good question because so I work in the field of tech, right? Technology, and a lot of the people I work with are actually from India or from South Asia. So I'm used to hearing the accent more than maybe other Americans. I think so. For me, I understand the accent pretty well, the Indian English accent. I think if this answers your question, I think it's difficult for English speakers, like Western English speakers, like Americans, British, Australians. It's hard for us to understand Indian people when they speak English when they speak very fast. So I think it's because, and one thing I'll say, do not get rid of your Indian accent. I think having an accent is a beautiful thing. So never try to change that. If you want to maybe lessen it, if that makes you more comfortable to speak English, okay. Like when I speak Spanish, I change my accent because I want to sound more fluent, right, in that language. But I think there's no right or wrong answer, or there's no right or wrong way to speak English. But yeah, I would say just speaking slower to Westerners when they speak English sometimes helps them to understand.
Kevin, sir, I want to know one more questions to you. Sir, for speaking like a businessman, so what kind of you prefer book we should read? Talking with businessman people. Hello.
Can you repeat the question one more time?
I'm saying to you, sir, for talking with businessman, what kind of book, what kind of peoples we should talk with them?
What type of words to speak with them?
Businessman, the businessman,
I-
like US businessman.
Asking you to recommend a book that is related to business. I mean, by reading,
Oh.
you can just talk to the businessman and all.
Yeah, and,
Yes.
and by the way, I could hear you. Your words are good. I think it's just the reception is not very good. That's all. So I don't know of a book for business. Like I don't I'm not in business. So I'm like what?
He's not into
What?
business. He's into tech and all.
Yeah.
He's a,
Yeah, I feel bad because I wish I had a recommendation because I don't have one. I in reading, I'm a nerd, so I read like sci-fi and fantasy, and so I can't recommend any books that can help you, unfortunately.
Kevin?
Um,
Yes, carry on.
Is there any other things for doing for daily for talking with businessman? Is there any other thing I can do?
I'm trying to think. Like to learn business English, I would say. I mean, when I learn languages, I think that this in your class right now is the first thing, right? Just taking group classes. I think that's helps you a lot. Um, YouTube is always my best friend when I'm like when I was trying to learn Mandarin, like Chinese business. I watched a ton of YouTube videos, but that's a hard question. I wish I had a better answer. I'm sorry.
Let's damn Mandarin.
It's okay.
Yeah, Mandarin is also very very difficult.
Okay.
Are you on the book that I had given to you and Varanasi? Are you on that?
Do I have the book?
Yeah, do you read that book or you're gonna read it like when you reach the US?
I read probably the first like few pages, but I have not had a chance to like sit down and like read. But I asked a couple of friends from the U.S. about it, and they've read it before, so it must be a very it's a book people have read.
ISKCON is there in the US as well.
Is what in the U.S.?
ISKCON is there in the US as well. They just talk about the welfare of the people. They're related to Lord Krishna.
Yeah.
And that
Right.
book is also the book that I have given to you. That book is also related to Lord Krishna only.
Right.
Definitely.
Yeah. But it's a really cool book.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
So
No, thank you.
yes, come on, Kevin, carry on.
No, that's it. I'm good.
Is there anybody else who would say anything, Kevin?
Yes, I would like to ask something.
Okay.
Kevin,
So, Kevin sir, I want to know that I would like to ask you that how many languages do you know?
Well, that's the tricky part about language is when someone asks you like how many languages are you fluent in? I would say I'm not fluent in any language except for English, but I speak basic conversation with Spanish.
Okay.
Like I know that the present, past, future, tenses with Spanish.
Okay.
And I can have a basic conversation. But I learned Spanish, the Mexico version of Spanish, not the Spain version. So, it's a little different. As I grew up in California when I was a kid, so I was closer to Mexico. But then let's see, Mandarin about the same. I can speak the basic conversation in Chinese.
Okay. Spanish, Chinese.
And then I took a couple years in American Sign Language. So
Okay.
that's something I'm slowly learning again. I think sign language is such a cool language to learn. In India you have one as well. But I think it's one of the coolest things to do is to be able to sign to your friends. And it's just kind of universal. Like you're able to do it in any situation. But yeah, so I think I could say 3. I'm like basic, intermediate.
You said
And
you're learning Hindi also, right?
yes, I'm still
Kevin?
learning. Yes.
Like as you're learning Hindi too. And
Yes.
obviously it's not your like mother tongue. So what difficulty do you face like while learning this language?
So the first thing is the way that you pronounce the words are not um, comfortable for, I think, Americans or American English, like how we say words, like how the tongue placement is when you speak the vowels. Um, I think it's just being comfortable with saying the words. Also, learning the alphabet is so confusing. Like it's the sounds of each letter are just difficult for me to understand. So I think that's probably what it is. It's just pronouncing the words right now, and that just takes time with any language when you first start learning it. It's the fear of speaking because you're nervous to say it wrong, and I think that's something that we all need to overcome is to not be afraid to just try, because trying is when you learn. So yeah, so I think I'm still very new to Hindi. And I think the last thing I'll say here with learning Hindi is, how do I phrase this? I think, Ujwal, I told you about this, is when Westerners learn and like the Indian accent, it's, I think we're afraid in a way to learn the accent because we don't know if it's offensive to say.
Of course, of course. So like it might be tricky sometimes.
Yeah. So it's, I don't know. Yeah. One day I'll be able to, just not right now.
For sure. I mean, that's why a person needs guidance.
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay, how many languages do you know?
He has already pointed out. He has already
That's
pointed out.
3 or 4. Three. Yeah.
Okay, Kevin, I have a question.
Yeah.
There are a lot of students from India. They are opting for high studies and for study purpose, US and UK like that. So, what attracts them to study there? Is that job opportunities or any other things?
Are you asking what job opportunities are?
No. I'm asking that the students from India are choosing abroad, like US and UK, for study purpose.
Mhm.
So my question, and they have to pay a lot of, I mean, uh, lakhs rupees for as fee. So
Mhm.
what attract them to go there? What makes that? What is the criteria to choose that US and UK like that?
Yeah.
In
Do you
India,
ask
there are a
like?
lot of educations are there, even though they are
Right.
go abroad.
So you're asking like, why do Indian students go study abroad in USA, or like want to
Yes.
do educational programs? That's an interesting question because I think I had a conversation a little bit with you, or was it with you, Ojwal? But it
Yeah,
was,
it was with me. Yeah, definitely.
so it's, I it's a tricky question. I don't think schools in the United States are better than other parts of the world. I think India has amazing universities. Like technology schools, India has, they're awesome. And they're very difficult to get into. I think that to get a job, like for example, my company, I have maybe 4 or 5 people from India and Nepal on my immediate team. To get into my company, they all had their master's degree in the US, but they had their bachelor or undergraduate degree in India. So doing their master's degree in the United States allowed them to get that job in the US. So sometimes doing a master's degree or studying abroad in the United States allows you to do an internship that opens the door, right? You build your network. You meet people that get you that job to work in the United States. The how do I say this? In the United States, your resume is not going to get you a job. It will help you, but right now in the United States, it's who you know. Now, like for my company, we get tens of thousands of applicants, each year. The way to get a job in my company is to know someone so that they forward your resume to the recruiter. If you don't know someone at my company, you're probably not going to get an interview. So if that helps you to understand a little bit, if that answers your question, I think that being in the United States, having an internship or a study abroad program, master's degree, it would just help you to get a job much easier than if you were in India applying for a job in the US. Does that make sense?
Thank you so much. Yeah, I got
Yeah,
it.
of course. Well,
Well,
I need to head out shortly,
fine,
but
definitely, buddy. I mean, I really thank you for joining us today, despite being so tired. You just joined. Yeah, I mean, I can understand. I mean, you had a scuba diving in Bali, and right, you flew from Bali to Delhi. Now you must be resting. So, I'm just thankful to you for being over here with answering the
of course.
questions of the people.
Yeah,
It.
yeah. I'm glad to. Yeah, go ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a
Thank you
question?
so much for giving us your valuable time.
Oh, of course. Yeah, that's my pleasure. Yeah, I think hearing a native speaker is also helpful. To when you learn a language, sometimes what you read in a book is not always how people speak, right, in conversation. And my accent is a mixture. Like I've lived in California, I've lived in New York, I've lived in Chicago, I lived in San Francisco. I've been all over the United States, and there's many different accents in the United States. So, yeah, it's good for you to at least experience a little conversation like this.
Definitely, that helps. All right, Kevin.
Well,
Again, I mean, thanks again for being over here with us and answering the questions of the people. And
Yeah.
yeah, now
Thanks, Kevin.
you can just rest, take a rest, and
All right,
to fly
you're.
tomorrow.
I do. I have to have a 20-hour flight home. So, but you're welcome, and yeah, hope you have a nice class. I'll
Thank you so much.
speak to you later.
Bye-bye.
All right.
Take care.
Have a safe
All
night,
right.
Kevin.
See ya.
All right.
Have a safe night, Kevin.
How was the experience, guys?
Nervous.
A lot of people were getting afraid of him. Seriously, as he just pointed out, that I'm not gonna eat you. Seriously. So, okay, there's one more thing that I had already told you to not give up your Indian accent. He also mentioned